Well, welcome back, everyone, to That Sounds Risky, the podcast where we explore the bold decisions and unexpected detours and courageous risks that shape extraordinary lives and businesses. I'm your host, Sara Emerson, executive coach, speaker, and founder of Sara Emerson Coaching. I believe that the life and business we truly want are almost always waiting on the other side of a risk that we're willing to take. Today's guest is Johanna Lyle, an interior designer and entrepreneur who has built a business helping people transform the spaces where they live and work. Behind every beautiful design is a business owner who has had to make difficult decisions, navigate uncertainty, and trust her vision, even when the outcome wasn't guaranteed. And I'm also excited to have Johanna because she's a personal friend and she helped me design my office too. So I'm very, very honored to have her here today. Johanna, welcome to That Sounds Risky.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you became an interior designer.
Well, all thanks to you, Sara. I was not an interior designer from the beginning of my career. I started in a lot of different other artistic endeavors. I was in theater growing up. I studied that in college and did performance work with my sister and in the Chicago area for a bit after I graduated. And then I shifted into video production and was working in video production for a few years as a producer and an editor. And then COVID happened. And like many people, I reevaluated my life and made some changes. And I think part of it was that I loved my team that I was working with at the video production company. And I loved that we traveled a lot. And then when it became work from home, don't see your team, don't travel, I was like, is video really what I like most love? Do I just love all these, the container for this work? Yeah. And while I did like it, I think I just felt like I didn't have, some of my coworkers would like watch like films at night and study the things about them. And I never just like had that energy, but I did notice that I had that energy about interior design, that I would be studying, interior designers' work and felt like I just had this kind of insatiable hunger to learn about interior design, and that like I was thinking about it all the time and I had like all these creative ideas and this energy about it. And I think also being stuck at home was a time a lot of people were working on their homes and during COVID. And so
tell us about really quick, not to like interrupt you about that, but during that season, you started a pretty successful Instagram about working on your home with a special friend that you gained during that time too. You want to tell us about that?
Yeah, that sounds like it's a romantic special friend, but it's a dog. But who loves me too, my husband. So,
that is like, tell us all of it. Give us all. Give us it all.
I adopted a dog the first day of shelter in place. And
because what else would you do?
Yeah, of course. I was like, well, I'm going to be stuck here. I also was like, the only time to raise a puppy is when you're at home for a while. So if I even have just like 2 weeks here, then
bonus,
a good opportunity.
Yeah. Isn't that funny how we all thought, well, if I just have 2 weeks.
Exactly.
And then we're like, wait, what?
Years later.
Right.
So yeah, I adopted a dog. And at the same time, all this interior design stuff was becoming really present for me. And so I'd had some ideas about things to do to my rental apartment and like DIY projects. And I was like, what if I start an Instagram of doing DIY stuff, but it's also like about my dog. So it's sort of like a dog Instagram too, because that makes me somehow feel less self-conscious, I think, about like posting my home projects, because I'm also doing it with this twist of like, but here's also just a picture of my dog and my dog.
And I love the name of it. What was tell everyone what the name was.
It's called At Home with Howie, and Howie is my dog. Howard is his full name. And so I started doing that, and I just was really I like remember my first project. it's hilarious the things I was doing and how poorly I was doing them. Now I'm like, oh my gosh, the craftsmanship, this is terrible.
And yet all of us at home were like following along thinking you were a genius. So,
well,
yeah.
Finding alley finds, fixing them up, doing all sorts of things. So that's kind of like how I started while I was still working at this other company, like dabbling in this other industry. And then I was working with my amazing coach, who was also doing something risky and starting her business, Sara Emerson. And
thank you.
And we, at the time, we were chatting a lot about what I wanted to do and had been curious about interior design. And I think I was even like, maybe I'm going to just go try and do it and start my own company. And I saw a job posting for an assistant designer at a firm that I knew of in Chicago, and had already like had a little bit of a connection with the owner there. And I brought it to Sara, and Sara was like, you were like, I don't know, you should just go and like learn everything from this person before you start your business. And even if you're only there 6 months, think about like how much farther ahead you would be. And I was like, I don't know, I think maybe I could do it myself if I just go for it. But anyway.
And you could.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But oh my gosh, I'm so glad I didn't. I'm so glad.
Really? Okay. Yeah. Tell me why. So those that are listening and thinking, hey, should I gain information or inspiration from others before I try to jump? Why was that the right decision for you?
I saved so much headache and I mean, I like didn't know anything. I didn't know anything. Now I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't know. I couldn't have done this job without learning all of that first.
Yeah.
And I just gained so much experience so quickly. I would have stayed there longer. You know, I think I went in thinking, okay, this is like a temporary stop on my journey maybe, but then I ended up like gaining so much knowledge and learning so much on the job and really enjoying my time there, that if later my husband hadn't taken us away for his grad school, I would have stayed there longer.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think it was just really valuable I feel like I got to kind of go to design school, but have a job and be paid to do it. So that was really, really beneficial. And
in that season, obviously the learning of the design side from this woman and from this company was huge for you. It also gave you connections. It gave you, it helped build your bravery really to step into it when you decided to go into it on your own. What else did it give you?
I also would have I would have completely undersold my services if I hadn't like known what was normal to charge, and also felt like confident enough to charge that by the time that I had learned all this.
Yeah.
Right. I think
you would have undersold yourself.
I would have been doing design at a really like a much lower level.
Yeah. I remember working on that even in some of our coaching when you were like, what should I charge? How do I do this? Blah, blah. And going back and going, hey, you need to be able to make this not just an expensive hobby. Because really at home with Howie was a hobby, right? But you were looking at like, how do I make this a career? How did coaching help you in that season of really transitioning and owning what you wanted to do next?
Yeah, I think that I don't know. I really remember I mean, it was like 6 years ago now, so I'm trying to.
Right. No, exactly.
But the thing that I like most take away from it was that you were the one that really encouraged me about applying for this job. And I think that like I was a little cocky probably. It's like, I don't know if I need to go start over as a design assistant and make like no money and take a huge pay cut and like go do that and get everyone coffee again. Like I'm in my late 20s. I feel like I already did that with other careers. I'm like, don't want to kind of start over in this position. So I think it was just really helpful advice that you gave me at that time that I couldn't necessarily see myself, and helped me think about it in a different way. I think you were the one that was sort of like, this is like going to design school, but you're going to get paid for it, like versus,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah. Well, and what I loved seeing in that season of speaking with you and you really choosing this as a next full career for yourself, because that transition's hard for people, right? You're going in one direction and you're thinking, hey, this could be lucrative and good and I could really love this, but I have this nagging desire that won't go away of this creative project that I really want to do. And I think that's the thing that I saw within you, is that mental shift of being willing to start over.
Mhm.
Like there's so many people that aren't willing to do that. And so you took that risk even in that moment, that you were like, well, worst case scenario, I can go back to what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
can always go back and find another video editing job, or I love these people. They'd probably take me back again and it's going well, but I want to try this. And so I saw your mental shift and your desire to actually and belief that you could actually go for something. You'd done that in other scenarios too. It's not like every job that you had done. I mean, I think of the tour that your sister and you were on creatively in your performance and things like that. You'd taken risks before, but this one felt bigger because you
Yeah.
already had something going that was really um, wonderful. And so I saw that mental shift for you, Joe, where you were able to be willing to start over again and be willing to allow it to either flourish or fail and it not be a big deal.
Yeah. And I think I remember too at that time our conversations about I think I had always had this entrepreneurial bent,
Yeah.
and I felt like I had started little things or tried to start other little businesses in my 20s that I lost energy on and
Mm-hmm.
didn't stick with. And I was I think I like had this thought that I'm not going to stick with it. What if I
Mm.
don't stick with it? What if I,
The fear of trusting yourself that you'd follow through.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I remember you saying something like, so what? Like, I think you even mentioned Patrick, who is going to be on,
Friend of ours. Yeah.
saying like he owns like a million URLs or something. Like
Yeah. Or
all
he
these
always is trying.
websites.
He's always trying these new things. Yeah.
Yeah, and like,
Him and Jeremy are always starting new things. Yeah.
and that like somehow just helped me, I think, release this like judgment that I had on myself about that. Like, well, I don't know what if I just like, what if people start seeing me as this person who's like always throwing out new businesses and then like 2 weeks later is done with it. I want people to respect my career, and like if I say I'm doing something, that I do it. And I was just nervous about what if it doesn't work out, or what if I change my mind or something. And but I don't think I'm gonna. I think I'm in this for a long
Yeah, I think you're in it to win it.
Yeah.
It's already been really successful for you. So you made the decision. In COVID, you got a dog, you got a new career. Your dog led you to your boyfriend, now husband.
Yep.
And give us that little snippet. How did Howie lead you to the
Yeah.
next part of your life?
I have to keep reminding myself that Howie brought me a lot of great things, because currently in my life, Howie is driving me insane. But he's a very high energy pup that has always been a handful. And now that I have a baby, I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, he wants your energy too. Yeah. That's another thing. Yeah.
Oh.
You're a new mom. Congrats.
Thank you. But anyway, Howie, when he was about 6 months old, we were at the dog park, and a very cute man walked in, and with his yellow lab, and Howie was wreaking havoc in the dog park, as he typically does. And so it was an opening for us to start talking, and the rest is history, as they say.
That is so amazing. And got to be at your incredible wedding, and it was so beautiful. And just to see that whole relationship unfold and getting to see you now be a mom and a wife is really exciting. And a little behind the scenes too. Do you want to tell people how we met originally?
Sure. Sara babysat my sister and I.
I did. I did.
Ironically, my parents were out of town and it was like an overnight, couple night thing.
Yeah.
And I remember Sara trying to, we like hadn't hit any red lights and we were like trying to keep going.
Correct. We would playing a game where we would try not to stop the car no matter what before we got home. I don't know if it was a safe game, but we did it, and we didn't hit any red lights.
Also had some like weird car trouble during that time as well.
Yeah, I don't know. Something happened with a car place. I don't remember. I'm sorry that it's still memorable for you.
And the other memory I have is going to Woodfield Mall and that like weird alien restaurant. Well,
yes, what was that? It was like you were in outer space or something.
I'm
I
like,
don't think it
can I
exists
make up
anymore.
this memory because I
No,
can't.
it existed and we went
so
to it. If
weird.
anyone listening can remember what it was called, maybe somebody even listening worked there or something, but it existed. And so we went to this alien restaurant. You went in and it felt like you went underground, even though that wouldn't make sense. It should be up high if it was
Yeah, I
in
think it was,
outer space, but
I can't remember
it
what
was
you-
dark and I think they had costumes or something. I don't know, but it was interesting. Yeah, very fun. But we have known each other for many years, and so I've gotten to see you grow, not just as an incredible woman, but as now a mom and a wife, and as a business owner. And so, being a business owner now, you're like 6, 7 years into this. Yes.
No, I'm 5 years into this career, only 3 years into my business.
Oh, 3 years into the business. Why years just are not coming. So 3 years into the business, but you've gained a lot of success and momentum in those 3 years. And so looking at that, what were some of we obviously everybody on this podcast says, okay, that sounds risky. I had to take a risk. What's one of the biggest risks you took as an entrepreneur and a business owner when you look back at the last 3 years?
Starting my business was a huge risk.
Yeah.
I was working for that other designer in
Yeah.
Chicago, and I kind of rose in the company to at the end I had like just gotten promoted to lead designer when I left. And I my then fiance, now husband, was also wanting to do a career change and found this very specific program at Boston University that he wanted to go do and applied and got in. And so then we packed up and moved to Boston. And I thought that I would go work for another designer there. I knew that I couldn't stay with my existing company when we left the state. And so I was kind of like on that track. And then the more I thought about it, I just like had no energy for it. I was just like, I just got to this place where it's hard to design for somebody else. Like you have to really learn their style and learn, what they like, because you're designing for a client, but you're also designing for them, like the lead designer, the principal. And I just felt like I had just gotten to the point where I was like
Understanding it. Yeah.
But finally delivering designs that I felt like she really liked. And I just did not want to start over that process again with somebody else. And I had this just like kind of weird gut feeling of that I think I just need to go do my own thing and start my own business. But it like didn't make sense at all because we were about to lose. I mean, my husband was gonna go to zero income while he was in grad school. And thankfully his parents were paying for school, but like I would be paying for our life in Boston, and Boston was really expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, like 2 times the rent of Chicago. It was a very expensive city. And working for an interior designer, you don't make a lot of money. I was not making a lot of money at my previous design firm, but it was like, felt more safe. It felt safer to go work for somebody else than start my own business where I don't know, like $0 in my first year. Who knew? And I think that other people in my life who are maybe not as risk averse as me, or more risk averse than me, maybe were skeptical of my decision.
So people were saying that sounds risky. Like they
weren't saying it out loud.
Well, not that, but like in their mind, yeah, they're not all coming up to you saying that phrase, but they're in their mind, we're giving you feedback that, yeah, this might not be the safest choice. What kept you going towards this dream and goal, even though those voices were there?
Well, to me, I was behind it because I felt like the timing was never going to be right.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, so once we finish grad school, we're going to want to start a family. And then that's also not going to be a good time to start a business. And so when am I going to do this then? And so while we're in Boston and he's working hard at grad school and working a lot of evenings, like I'd like to also have a passion project that I'm working hard on. Like, he's going to be busy.
You wanted to be busy too, yeah.
I'll be busy too with building maybe this is just like our building time and we're going to do this,
together. Yeah.
Transition. And so I think I felt like I knew I was going to do this eventually. So it was like, I think this is a good time to do it. Mm-hmm. And, I just like really, I do think there's like a woo-woo element of just like when you have that gut feeling that you can do something.
And trusting that. Yeah. I think so many of us discount that gut feeling.
Yeah.
Right. We have it. We think I'm pretty sure I could do this, but I think we start to borrow people's belief, whether we mean to or not. And sometimes that belief is in a positive way. I say that to clients all the time. You can borrow my belief that you can do this. But oftentimes we start to borrow people's fear beliefs too, right? And we discount that gut feeling that we have. And so knowing the people that surround you, obviously you have a lot of great mentors and family and people that would speak truth into you. And you had skills that were somewhat of a safety net because you were like, I'm going to try this and I'm going to go after it. But if this doesn't work, it's actually okay. I could go back to video design and editing. I could go work for an interior designer in Boston. Like you didn't go into this without knowledge that there's other things I could go and do.
Yeah. Yeah. Or like I had the thought like, okay, well, if I'm not bringing in enough money, if I can't get this off the ground, like maybe I'll need to get a part-time job while I build this. Or I'll work.
I call those business bridges, right? There's tons of times that we're starting something and we need that business bridge, that part-time thing. Sometimes it's a full-time thing. I had a business bridge for a while I was building this. And there's things that you go, okay, I know this is temporary, but I'm going to do this until this makes sense full-time. And so you had that thought, but you get to Boston and tell us what happened. You get there and you launch.
Yeah, I launched like pretty much right when we moved. And I knew that the only way I was really going to make it work was flying back to Chicago for work. So I wasn't even really marketing myself that much in Boston because I didn't have like contractors, vendors, all these people that I had built relationships with in Chicago. I knew we weren't going to be there long term. So I didn't want to like build my business there and then have to move it again. And
so a lot of your clientele was in the Chicagoland area.
Yeah. So I just knew that like the people at my network and everything, like this is where I'm going to get work and I will just fly back once a month is what I decided.
It's amazing. So you created a business that worked for you and your life that nobody told you, hey, look, you're going to start a business. You're going to work in Chicago instead of in Boston, but you're going to run it from Boston. Like, I think sometimes people say no to risky ideas because they're like, well, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't have to, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't always have to make sense. If you would have put it on paper before you started doing it, it didn't actually all line up. But when you started doing it, you're like, this is what is going to be the most lucrative. We always want to look at what's going to be an actual business, not just an expensive hobby. And so you were able to make it a business by keeping those relationships in Chicago and keeping that going there. That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. It ended up being okay. But I launched, I thankfully already had a bit of an Instagram presence and following. So that's probably where I got most of my initial clients. So I started posting about the business and that I was doing this and started getting some inquiries and, flew back and did some consultations and then, started working pretty quickly. Sent out stuff. I was closing most of the proposals that I was sending out, which maybe in retrospect means I was charging too little. I don't know, but I was getting work and that was great and awesome. And I ended up making like double or almost triple what I was making working for another designer in my first year of business. So it ended up being like absolutely the right choice for my family to do it. So.
That's incredible. I'm so proud of you. So incredibly proud of you. And that's what we often hear. A lot of times people are so fearful that it's going to be zero, and it ends up being way more than what they ever thought. And I think for many people, that is a surprise. For you on the backside of that, as that started to happen, what were your thoughts and feelings? Were you like, I actually can't believe that this is real?
Oh, yeah.
Like, what is that feeling like for you?
Yeah, it was like emotional. I think I was like, I like maybe many entrepreneurs, I don't know, but I like love counting my money.
Yeah, of course. Right? Everyone's looking at it.
Like I'm really
logging into QuickBooks and like, oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think I didn't know that was like I didn't know as what I would be like as a business owner. And I didn't know that like sales was something that I was going to really enjoy and feel good at. And so like when I was winning business, I was like, this is
so fun.
Yeah, I didn't know that I was going to enjoy that part so much, or that it would feel like so rewarding to feel like I actually made this money.
From your hard work and from taking that risk to put that offer out there and
just like have a salary that like appears in my a bank account every month or whatever. I actually got this money every month. So I think as it was like rolling in and I was projecting out like, okay, what am I like, how much, like oh my gosh, I'm already at this point. I'm already at my salary and it's only Q1 or 2 or whatever. Yeah. So I think that felt really exciting. And I remember when I hit 6 figures and I was like in tears. I just was totally flabbergasted that happened. I did not have any expectation that would happen in my first year in business.
That's incredible. I'm so proud of you. And what we see in that too, though, is we look back a couple years prior, you had to be willing to go back to maybe less than what you were really, like when you're in the video world, you had to be willing to go back to being that assistant and making less to learn so that you could make triple the amount later. And I think a lot of people aren't willing to do that. A lot of people aren't willing to go backwards to go forwards. And I like to think about it. My dad had a company called the Slingshot Group, but I love that analogy of a slingshot. Often we have to be pulled back in order to launch. And when we're taking risks, if we're willing to do that, I see people who go so much further. It's not that you can't have success, but if you're willing to have the back pull, you can go further. Do you feel like that was part of really what helped you?
Definitely. And it was humbling.
Of course. Yeah. There's a lot of humbling. Being an entrepreneur is often humbling.
Yeah. I definitely, I think it's like, I will always remember this. In my 20s, I just felt like I was like good at a lot of things. I could be good at doing a bunch of different types of jobs. And I was kind of a generalist in that way. And I think when I came to the video production company, it was called Tectonic, that I was working at, then Advocate Creative previously to that. And my boss, Doug, was like, I think he kind of called that out in me a little bit, the generalist thing, and said that they say that like the highest indicator of job satisfaction is being an expert at something.
Mm-hmm.
And that has stuck with me for a long time. And what's interesting is I think being a business owner is the way to be an expert at being a generalist, if that makes sense. Like you do have to kind of wear a lot of hats. So it's like I get to do that in a way that feels satisfying. But I think what was most humbling about going back and starting over in a different career in a different industry is I was the opposite of an expert. I was an absolute novice at that. And that was really hard because it's like, it is not satisfying. You feel like you're not contributing and you can't like perform at the level that you want to, and feel like at this point, at this age, at this whatever milestone that you're at, that you should be able to be contributing at a higher level. And the people that are at those lead designer positions are your age, and you're like, I'm a design assistant right now. And that was definitely humbling for sure.
Yeah. In the business owner, entrepreneur, and designer, because you're right, those are all different hats. What do you feel like you're an expert in right now? What's one area that you feel like you're an expert in right now?
I don't know, you get to a level where you think, like, I don't know if you ever get to a level where you think you're an expert.
Right. Well, especially with our the creative mind, you always want to be better at something. But where do you feel your interest or your passions most drawn towards, and you're seeing some traction in that? Often that's where the expertise lies.
I think I'm really like, I'm at a place where I'm really excited about growing my business right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I got this big honor this year of being—
Yes, you did.
Like Next Wave Designer by House Beautiful magazine, which is probably means not much to most people, but in the industry feels like a big deal. And
it is a big deal. Congratulations.
And so that just was really like a morale boost, I think, of like, hey, somebody has noticed what I'm doing out here and thinks I've got something, and so that has felt like a nice catalyst and some energy to grow the business. I am sitting in my brand new studio space, which I really excited about.
Congratulations.
I signed the lease, started loading some stuff in here, so it's very much not done yet. But I think like I know that the next steps for me are having a space outside my home to work in, and having clients be able to come here and have a more elevated experience, and eventually bringing on and building a team. And so that I'm spending a lot of time like being a business owner, working on the business right now, as well as serving my clients, which I'm always.
Yeah. What part of design do you love most?
I love the initial part of designing. I love like walking into a space and starting to think about what it can be, and building a vision and concepting, and doing the selecting and the design work. And I think that there's like, I just love when inspiration strikes, when you're like, I'm really struggling with this. And then you see, like today I was reading my son a book this morning, and the illustrations were so beautiful and really unique. And I was taking pictures of them. So I was like, that's an awesome color scheme. And like, wouldn't that be amazing in a room? And so when I find things like that, that I can
spark your,
or like when I get surprised by and delighted by finding a really cool light fixture that I've never seen before, or something. I love vintage things because they're often just so surprising. You kind of get to a point where you feel like you've seen everything.
Yeah.
I think I feel like I know everything that's out there, even though that's probably not true, but it feels like that. So when I stumble across a piece that is just like, oh my gosh, I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
That is really inspiring. So those are things.
How would you define your style of design? Like what would, I mean, obviously you can design anything somebody wants you to in the way that they want you to. But if somebody gives you a blank canvas, what's your style?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that that's even true that I can do anything. Like I think it's really um if someone came to me and said they really wanted like a minimalist, modern design, I'd be like, okay, I'm not really the designer for you.
Okay. Yeah.
I think I lean a little bit more towards maximalism. I love a lot of color and layer and pattern. I love an eclectic mix of eras and vintage and modern pieces kind of sitting next to each other.
Yeah.
I love really like full interiors that feel like you kind of walk in and you are awed and surrounded by the mood that room brings.
Yeah.
So I love working in old homes and historic homes, though here in Raleigh, I'm doing kind of shifting into more new construction because that's just more of the game here. And so
Mhm.
I'm excited about kind of bringing the like character of old homes into new.
The new home. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Have you ever had a project that didn't go as you expected? Maybe there was a failure or some learnings there. And what did you do about it?
Yeah. Yeah. I had a project recently that I had to sort of walk away from it for the first time. I've never
Wow.
done that. And
That's hard.
yeah, it is hard. I think that the like expectations were just misaligned, and I think um I took it on kind of knowing that maybe it wasn't a good fit, but I
Mm.
was at the time moving here and it was local and I was excited about having a local project and
Yeah.
was kind of trying to make it work. And I think it's hard when I come from like this DIY background, but this is a luxury service. Like
Yeah.
this is not something everyone can afford to do, like work with
Mhm.
an interior designer. It's a luxury to do that.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I um I think there's like, and I remember my boss when I worked for the design firm in Chicago saying something to this effect, but it's like when people feel like they are stretching to work with you, um, it's tough because they feel like this is the most money they've ever spent on anything. And
Yeah.
often it's a small project for you.
Right.
And that doesn't mean you're not like all in and valuing it, but they're just their expectations.
Yep. Misaligned expectations. Yep.
And they're expecting to like the product is gonna like the end result is gonna be like the most luxurious thing they've ever seen, super high end, when you're like, look, this is actually kind of like the low end of the
Yeah. This is all
cost.
your dollar is going to get you in this,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like that. So it's just like a expectations thing that's really tough. And so I think that was a lesson I kind of had to learn the hard way. And yeah, I really lost sleep over it. I like really hate disappointing people. I want to provide something that is gonna be awesome, and I like want to stick to my word, and I want to do all these things, and it's just I kind of had to draw a boundary. Yeah.
Yeah. How did you internally uh take the learnings from that and not make it something that just stopped you in your tracks?
Um, I think I just like knew that it just was, I was like, things are only going to get worse from here. I was like,
Mhm.
we're at like a good stopping point where I've like done some design work. You could take this and run with it. Um, if we keep kind of going down this road, like you're only going to end up more mad at me. I'm going to be upset. Like
Yeah.
it's just, I just think this is like not working. And so I think I had this sense that like I really felt like I was doing the right thing by them and the right
Yeah.
thing by me by like saying, I think let's just cut it here.
Yeah.
And um hopefully they felt that way. But I think,
Well, and that's brave as a business owner to, and I've heard you say that a couple times where you're like, no, if they're looking for a minimalist, that's not me. And this isn't going well. We need to part ways. And I think every business owner and entrepreneur could say they've had those moments. But recognizing the limitations of the either the client or of yourself is not a failure. That's actually really brave and in service. Like we talk about, sometimes saying no to people is actually in service of them.
yeah,
Like breaking that was because you were like, this is going to get worse, not better.
yeah,
And I'm not going to be able to do what you're expecting. And so in that, you're serving them by ending it
yeah.
in essence. Yeah. What are you going to take moving forward into your business because of this learning?
I definitely think that I had like a gut feeling that I ignored
Yeah.
early on about that, like being a problem maybe with this potential client and project. And I didn't listen to it. And
Mhm.
now I'm like, I'm not going to do that again because I
Yeah.
feel bad that I didn't. It hurt them and me, by me not respecting that sense that maybe this isn't a perfect match. And
Absolutely.
I think it's hard. Like I'm have some inquiry or leads right now that I'm it's just always hard. It's like hard to know. Sometimes you do have like little yellow and red flags with people. And sometimes it's just like, is this just an education thing? Like, do I need to explain some things and then
Yeah.
it's going to be okay? So it is really hard. And I'm always learning to be more, I don't know, to have a better radar, I guess.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think I've learned the lesson, but maybe I haven't. Sometimes I think something just seems really appealing and you're like, well, I guess I'm just going to ignore that this thing feels a little off.
Yeah. One of the things I work on with a lot of my clients is what I like to call intuition journals, because that intuition, that gut level knowledge, happens more often than we think. And there's that just knowing that happens. And for some people, that's just a knowing in their gut. Some people, that's a more spiritual thing of feeling like they're being guided in some way. And so I love to tell people, if you're wanting that gut level intuition to grow, it's actually a skill that can grow. And anytime we focus on something, it flourishes, right? And so when we put focus on it, and that can be good and bad, right? We focus on too many of the bad things, and all of a sudden, all we see is the negative. But when we start to want to grow this, I always encourage people, go get yourself a new journal. That's always fun to go to the store and get yourself a new journal, or go on Amazon. And then literally write down on one side of the page the date, and then what you interpreted or what you had an intuition about. And then on the right side of it, put result and date and leave it open. You're just writing down, hey, on this day today, I have this feeling. And then I'm going to wait and see what happens, and give yourself and sometimes that wait and see, like I had a client yesterday that, ironically, he needed a 911 session, and he's like, hey, I need to talk through my job. Some things just happened. I'm feeling like this isn't going to go well. And I might need to be making a career shift. And then literally 3 hours later, he emailed me and he was like, no, actually, I was right. I just was laid off and I need to meet with you ASAP, and we need to figure this out. He intuited that obviously sooner, but he'd been feeling that for a little while now. And there's times that we get that immediate result. And then there's times that it can be months.
Yeah.
Right. But what you're going to start to see if you do this little journal, for anyone that's listening, is you're going to start to see that your gut is more right more often than you think. And we start to trust that, because often people just think, well, is that just my feeling? And sometimes it is our feeling. Sometimes we're biased because of different things. But when we're starting to pay attention to it, we can see, oh, no, I just was really hoping that was going to be good because it was a high ticket job, or I was just hoping it was going to be good because it was the first one that I had in Boston. but I didn't pay attention to the misalignment, or I didn't pay attention to how much they were expecting for this little price, the misalignment in the pricing. So anyway, that might be helpful for somebody listening, or for you, but I know it's been helpful for me to just build that intuition. Yeah. When you're serving your clients, what's one lesson that you've learned about about how to explain expectations to them? You've talked about the misalignment of expectations. How have you learned to bring that closer?
That's a good question. I think that I learn from other designers all the time. Like, I'm on Facebook groups and Instagram groups, and I go to gatherings and meet other designers, and I listen to podcasts. And so and a lot of times people say the same stuff about how to, about like issues that have come up with their clients and how they've worked through them. And I just learn a lot from that without having experienced all of those things yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I think one of the things that I've learned is just talking about things up front as much as possible. Like, for instance, here's a great example. What is it going to cost? Right? Like, you want to do a kitchen renovation, and people don't know what it costs. People don't know what it costs. And information on the internet is often wrong. It's like, I don't know what ChatGPT is telling you your kitchen renovation is going to cost. And it's accurate.
Well, and what what one person's expectation of a renovation is and someone else's is completely different. And the size of the kitchen, you're like, it depends on what your kitchen's like. Yeah.
Level of appliances do you want?
Right.
A huge range, definitely. But I think that like the kitchens I design tend to start at a certain price point. And I think that like I've been afraid in the past years, maybe when I first started, afraid to sort of claim that and say that up front. And now I'm much more comfortable, like in the consultation, on the inquiry call, like talking about budget, giving information about like what these things cost up front, as much as I can. I mean, there's some parts of it that I can't tell you. I can't tell you what your whole gut renovation is going to cost. We need to do a lot of exploratory work. We need to, talk. There's no way I can just throw out a number. But I do think that being confident about that upfront is important. I think also being confident about my process and the way I work, like upfront, is important also. And just not being afraid that like they're going to say no if you say that, like they're not going to if you say that stuff. Like, I think it's way better to just, before they've become your client, to talk about those types of expectations like as early as possible. And then there's hopefully no surprises later.
How important is it to be willing to let them say no in your mind, like before the consultation even happens, like so you're not so attached to it?
Yeah. I don't know. I think there's specifically when we talk about like money, I think that, what I'm doing, it's not just my services. It's like, obviously this whole investment that they're making of like on their furnishings or on their renovation, on their new construction. And so I think that I just lost my train of thought. What was the question?
Yeah, no, how important it is to allow people to say no. Like, I think so. As a new entrepreneur, we're oftentimes I hear from a lot of the clients that I work with, well, how do I get them to say yes? Well, when you're so tied to getting them to say yes, that's where the misalignment in expectations comes. That's where we end up getting ourselves into situations that we overpromise and underdeliver, not because we mean to, but because we can't for the price. Or so I find that it's really important to walk in and be super neutral and say, hey, this is what I offer. And if that doesn't work for you, that's okay.
Totally. I think that comes with having experienced what it means to have the rub of this wasn't a good fit.
Yeah. Yep. We have to have those rubs in order to have the
Yeah,
confidence.
when you're in that position, you're like, I never want to do this to myself again.
Right.
Oh, losing sleep over this. I feel so stressed out by it. This is a terrible place to be. You want to be a good working relationship, and it's not worth the money. It's just not worth it. I mean, I would rather be having to scale back my business or something, or I would just rather not be at the financial goals that I'm hitting, and not have the daily stress of a bad fit. So
Absolutely.
I think that once you have that experience, it's a lot easier to confidently set those expectations and not try to be like, pick me, pick me, pick me.
Pick me. Well, and I don't know, right now my daughter and her friends are always like, oh, they're a pick me, right? There's like that whole idea right now. And you're like, yeah, I don't want to be a pick me.
Yeah.
So for you, I also want you to brag on some of the fun things that you've gotten to design, and maybe some of the things that you have been most life-giving to you as an entrepreneur. What are some of those risks that you've taken that have paid off in a great way, not just monetarily, but in a exciting designer way?
Yeah. I had this great project that came to me super early, like I think months after I started my business. And
how did it come to you? How did, like, people that are listening, like, how did these things come to you? Instagram. So you being out and starting your Instagram with.
Yeah, which was really surprising to me because they were following along when I was like, I did what they say not to do, which is like switch what your account is.
Yeah, so, there's all the rules are off, people. Yeah, do what you want, and people will find you no matter what.
I had built I don't know, maybe I had, 5K or something followers at that point. I was like, as a DIYer, and I was like, I mean, this is adjacent, me becoming in a luxury interior designer, but that is different. That is a very different thing. It's like close enough, but adjacent. I was like, I'm not going to restart my account after
no. Yeah, you already have people watching.
Yeah, so I didn't. And so this client had been watching me be a goofball, basically, on my DIY account, and in overalls covered in paint half the time, and not polished, doing my own condo, which was I didn't have a big budget. I was doing it myself. I was scrappy. And
I love that.
Somehow this client with a beautiful home and resources somehow she wanted to work with me. And so she brought me in for consultation, and I thought it was just going to be a consultation. And I was like, oh man, I really wish I would get to work in this home because this is so cool.
Yeah.
In the consultation, I was giving her some ideas, and this often happens, which I think sometimes you write projects off as this isn't going to be a good one, and then it turns into something that's good. So the consultation, she's like, but what if I just could I pay you to just actually do these things, that you're telling me I should do? And I'm like, yeah, you can. And
okay, in that moment though, you hadn't done a lot of this by yourself yet, right? So I think a lot of people discount this. They're like, what do I do if they say that and I haven't done it before? Johanna, tell them what they do.
I mean, I think you can confidently say the things you have done that give you the skills to take your work to the next level. I mean, I'm doing that right now. You never stop doing that,
exactly.
Now I'm trying to get this next level of type of project, and I haven't done that before. And I'm trying to make it sound like I have all the skills, because I do. I believe that I do have all the skills to do it. I just haven't done all those things together in one, before. And
correct.
And so I think you just kind of, I mean, it is fake it till you make it a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. But you had the street cred to do it. You just hadn't had the opportunity. And so what you're looking for in that realm is you're always wanting to grow your skill while you're waiting for the opportunity. And then if the opportunity arises, you don't go in and say, well, I've never done that before. You say, yeah, of course I can do it. And then you surround yourself with people that know how to do it if you run into a problem. And I love that you said that word scrappy. That has been something over the years with the reinvention of your careers or the different things that you've done. I remember when you were even doing video and you're like, yeah, I'm going to go fly to Africa and do this huge project and by myself. And I haven't done this before. And I remember us talking about that in one of our meetings together, and you're like fearful of that. And at the end you were like, oh yeah, I got it. I did it. Like, I'm going to go around the world. But it's that, yeah, there's going to be fear that I haven't done this before. That's normal. But that's what bravery is stepping in and going, yeah, I'm an excellent problem solver and I will figure it out in that moment. So you said yes to her saying, hey, could you do this? And then what?
And then slowly it just became like an amazing project. And they had more budget than I thought they did. And it just like, we were able to do some really interesting, cool things. They weren't, I've had some clients who are basically like, yes, just that design looks good. They definitely, there was a process, there was a collaboration. But overall, I'd say that they were very trusting, and they also were like really game to do some bold stuff and some exciting things that, some clients only want their comfort zone is like, if I haven't seen anyone do that, then I don't know if I want to do it. And these clients were not like that. They were like, if you haven't, you can show me your vision, like we can get behind it. And so I was able to really push, I think, on that project and do some things that other people might not have been game to do. And so I think that it really helped me. It's like my favorite project I've done. And I think it has helped me grow my business and helped me get the next wave thing. And so
That's exciting.
That was a good one.
That's so exciting. For you, somebody comes to you and says, Johanna, why should I hire an interior designer? What do you say?
I would say that if you've ever tried to do it yourself and you're a busy person, you will know how hard it is to do something as simple as like pick the right rug. Like I just was in a client's home yesterday. They moved into this much bigger home than they'd had before. She has 2 little boys. She's busy. She's like, I'm trying to get this done and I can't for the life of me pick these things. And I keep picking stuff and then it comes and it's not the right scale and it's not the right size and I don't like it. And I just don't have time for this. But I know what I want my home to be. And I want to feel like I can have people over and that it's completed. And so I think that the ideal person or someone who should hire an interior designer is someone who's in that boat and feels like they are, they know like kind of what they hope their home would feel like, but they
feel like
there and they have the resources to do it. And they they really align with I think you should find a designer where you really align with their portfolio and feel like you can trust them. Like, I think that's huge because their best work is going to be when you're like, I trust you to do what you're really good at. And I'm not going to I absolutely have opinions and I'm going to bring in my ideas and like my inspiration and all of that. But I'm not going to like get in the way of you doing what you're really good at. And I think that ends up being like the best result is when the client just really trusts the designer. And my job is also project management. It's not just like picking out pretty fabrics and things, but it's really when you're doing a construction project, like that's people fantasize, I think, about like what like a house remodel
until they do it. And then they're like, this was like, hard.
Yeah. And if you're doing it on your own, like if you've ever had that experience, like managing the contractor and managing the budget and all of that and making sure everything, if you do it yourself, it's like, this is often the story that I hear is people are like, my contractor needs me to pick all the lighting by next week.
Yes.
Like, oh my gosh, girl, if you're working with me, we've done that before you ever demoed that house. Like all of that has been designed and selected. We're not in that, like that
rush zone. Yeah. In that frantic
zone. That's not how we work. So you come to me months before we ever, any hammer is swung. And we, get all that in line so that we like just remove a ton of that stress. And then I'm the one communicating with the contractor. You're not getting daily calls. I'm managing the budget. I'm problem solving when stuff comes up. So that's another huge part of my service.
Well, and I love too what you said a minute ago. There was two things that stood out to me. One, you said that they need somebody they trust. And I think that's something that you had said a little bit ago when you were talking about that woman. You're like, I don't know why she hired me. She saw me in overalls doing that stuff. Your Instagram built trust.
Yeah.
Right. Her watching you. I think a lot of times people are like, what do I use social media for? So many people are like, I just put my services up there and I tell them the prices and I put a graphic on. That's not what the social media is for. The social media is for you to add value. I mean, if for anyone listening that has a business, people need to hear or experience you 7 to 13 times before they will ever make a decision to hire you. And so for her, that daily rep of seeing you in your overalls and painting and working on your light fixtures and all the different things that you're doing. I think you had your whole family peeling wallpaper or doing walls, painting or something at one time. It was fun to see. But that was building trust, and that's a really big deal. The other thing you said that stood out was the part about completion. And I think that's what happens so often is so many people get into these design projects and they get like halfway, like the beginning feels exciting. They're like, oh yeah, I'm talking to these contractors and stuff. And then they get in the middle of it and they're like, oh shoot, this is hard. Now there's problems. And now this feels like it's never ending. And so it sounds like for you, one of the big benefits of working with you, I know even before we started the redesign of my office, I contracted with Johanna for all the ideas and design because I trust her and think she's an amazing designer. And I was like, this color, this paper, what about this chair? Like these shelves, what do we do? And she's so amazing. But in that is having the idea of that this can be a calm, exciting, beautiful, completed project. And I think that's the thing that a lot of people hear is, oh, yeah, this is ongoing. It never ends. We're still waiting on this. We're still waiting on that. Is your kitchen done yet? Nope. I just had this conversation with a friend last week. Nope. We're still waiting on fixtures. Like for having someone like you, they don't have to have that pressure. They're able to continue on with their lives without that constant noise or constant extra stress.
Yeah. And I mean, construction delays still happen, but
Yeah.
the benefit is that you don't have to be the one saying, hey, hurry up, or like I ordered that thing late and that's why we're waiting on it, or
Yeah.
you don't have to be managing it all.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge benefit to people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And they get to spend time speaking with you and creating with you, which is a huge bonus because you're such an amazingly fun, creative person to be around. I could talk to you all day. Tell me a little bit about what it's like being a wife and mom with a business. And brag on your little boy or both of your boys.
Yes, I had George back in October, so he's 9 months old, and I think it was hard. I wanted to take a little time off. And also these projects that I do take so long. And so when I found out I was pregnant, it kind of had to like start scaling down on what I said yes to immediately because projects can take over a year. And so, so I felt like I did have to kind of scale back a bit and then to be able to take a maternity leave. And I was grateful that I had saved up for my maternity leave, but no one's paying it,
Well, someone is, it's you. You're paying it. Yeah.
Right. And then had to sort of I knew that, okay, so I want to come back to work in January and it's not like I'm just going to open the doors and there's going to be work again, So I think that just navigating this last cycle has been a little challenging. I just sort of feel like I'm back fully in the swing of things now. But at the same time, I'm just so grateful that I have the flexibility. I'm glad that I built this life for myself so that I can, George had his first sickness a few weeks ago and we had a summer nanny and so she stayed home and I just was able to, I woke up and I was like, I have meetings today. And then I was like, I can move them. I can move these meetings actually. And I can just hold my son all day who's sick. And
Yeah.
it's like a beautiful thing. And that's like why we do this, right? Like we're our own,
Yes, for that freedom.
have
Absolutely.
our own business so that we can do that. And
Exactly.
yeah, checking off a day that we just used of our PTO. Like, so I think I'm really grateful for that. And it's like, obviously, like many moms who have come before me, it's hard to balance, but I think that I love what I do, which I think it would be really hard if I didn't love what I spent all day away from him doing. And I have the flexibility to not be away all day. You know, I can come home early if I want to, or like right now I have Fridays off with him. And I also like this summer, because I've mostly been working from home until now, and we had the summer nanny. I was like breastfeeding him during the day, and so I didn't have to pump, which was awesome.
Yes.
You know,
So incredible.
like
Yes.
we can arrange our lives to like work for us when
Yes. It is that freedom and that autonomy of like, hey, we can figure this out to work for us is a huge benefit. I know for me, that's been so incredibly helpful with my kids aren't babies anymore, but now that they have all their different things that they're doing and navigating travel and to go see family, because we've got a lot of family that lives out of state and things like that, to be able to pick up and go and to have a business that you can that can fuel your creativity and your life from a financial standpoint, and that gives you the freedom to actually live too, is amazing. I love that. Well, we're going to do a couple fast round questions here as we come to a close here. But I want to ask you too, what are some, before we get to those just quick round of questions, what are some design tips that you could tell people right now? Like, what's one or two things that you're like, okay, do this, don't do this, in your opinion?
Inside mount Roman shades if you can versus outside mount. That's better.
Okay.
And if you do them, just like they're not, I didn't do these shades, but pull them down a little bit farther, like if you could see.
So like right there. Okay.
Change the temperature of your light bulbs to 2,700 Kelvin.
2,700 Kelvin. Everybody listen to that. 2,700 Kelvin.
Warmer light. That's a good one. Wallpaper, always wallpaper. Wallpaper is great. And if you're looking for a way to like pick a cohesive color scheme and palette for your home, find like a wallpaper or a rug or something that you love with a lot of colors in it and pull from there.
Okay.
Quick tip for how to like make things feel cohesive.
I love that. That's really helpful. Good. All right. Here's some quick questions for you. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Ice cream or cake?
Cake.
Mountains or ocean?
Ocean.
I was going to ask you wallpaper or paint, but wallpaper. What is your favorite wallpaper that you've seen recently?
Oh gosh, I don't know. There's so many, Sarah. Can't answer that question.
Okay.
I love. I can't answer that question.
Okay. Do you like a pattern or a print? Like more of like a geometric, like, I know that sounds funny how I'm asking it, but in my mind, it sounds, from a design standpoint, it doesn't make sense, but for my mind, it sounds right. Do you like geometric, or do you like more floral and
I
animal?
I think there's a place for both, but I love a like more organic floral.
Yeah. I've seen you put some things like that in homes recently and in your pictures, and it's really beautiful. Okay. How can people find you that want to work with you?
You can go to my website, which is jolyleandco.com, all spelled out. Or you can go to my Instagram, which is jo.lyle.design. And I'll send you to my website from there.
Okay, great. And you do services both where you are currently and all over, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you help people with ideas, like they can just work with you online too. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So my main focus is my full service projects, which is like soup to nuts, the whole shebang, for multiple areas in your home or your whole home. But if that is cost prohibitive, I offer some like more focused ways to work together. So I'll do what we did, which was just like a 1 hour consultation together as a like low price point, low entry. If you just need some help navigating some design decisions. And then I also have like a 1 day design day that you can do, which is also a flat fee. And that is great if you just have one room that you're looking to have a design for and are just needing help kind of picking some selections for that. And so those are two options that I like to have. Like, it's honestly, I wondered about cutting them out of my of my offering, because I think like I do want to focus on those full service projects, but I really enjoy getting to offer something to people that's at a little bit more of an approachable price point. It just feels good to me.
Well, and the lovely thing about that too is if they don't live near you, they can still experience and gain from your expertise and knowledge. And you get to have little pieces of you all over the US, no matter where they are. Or actually you could do that anywhere, all over the world. If you're listening outside of the US and you want a design from Jo, you can connect with her and you could have examples of you everywhere, Jo. I love it. Well, Johanna, thank you so much for sharing your story and reminding us that building a meaningful business requires both creativity and courage. And to everyone listening today, if today's conversation encouraged you, I want you to share this episode with someone who needs the reminder that the greatest opportunities often begin by taking one brave step, just like Jo did. Actually, she's taken many, but it takes that first brave step. And if you're ready to stop playing it safe and start building the life or business you've been dreaming about, I'd love to help you. Visit saraemerson.com to learn more about coaching opportunities, and I'd love to set up a conversation with you. But until next time, remember, sometimes the biggest breakthroughs begin with something that sounds risky. Talk to you soon. Bye.